Tokyo. It never really seems like there's enough time to see it all. But what if there was? I've always wondered if I had a spare day lying around and I was feeling a little bit mad, how would I do it? How would I try and see as much of the city as possible? And I've come up with 2 solutions to this problem. Number 1, drink as much coffee as you can. In this case, the disgusting bitter taste of Wonder Morning Shot coffee. Oh god. And number 2, a train. More specifically, a train line that stops at more stations and more places than any other train line in all of Tokyo. The Yamanote line. We're going to ride it 30 stops in one day, God forbid. The Yamanote line is Tokyo's most important train line. A giant loop of 30 stations rode by over 5 million people every single day, and featuring no less than 4 of the top 10 busiest train stations on the planet. One loop takes 64 minutes to complete, but given we plan to find one unique thing to do at each and every stop today, it'll take us closer to 12 hours. From hectic mega stations to tranquil, uncharted neighbourhoods that most travellers miss, we'll visit shops, markets, gardens and temples, discovering along the way what makes Tokyo the ultimate city of contrasts. And perhaps nowhere better encapsulates that than our first stop. When it comes to stations in Tokyo, it doesn't get better than Tokyo Station. The beautiful red brick facade. It's not the busiest though. That award goes to Shinjuku, which we'll be begrudgingly passing through later today. I still get lost after 10 years. I don't know where I'm going. But Tokyo Station, about 500,000 people pass through it every single day, and I've actually gone through it more than any other station in the country probably, just because when you're catching the Shinkansen bullet train to North Japan or down to Kyoto, this is your first port of call. This is where you'll come in. And I've got one pro tip for you when you come to Tokyo Station. When you're passing through and you get your Ekiben, like the Ekibento, don't get the ones near the railway platform. They're always very old and made a few days ago. You need like a fucking pickaxe to break through the rice. Not good. There's a food court though on the Marunouchi south side where the food is fresh and delicious, and that's usually the first place I stop off when I'm on my way through Tokyo. And wash it down, of course, with the Wonder Morning Shit coffee. I don't know what about this makes it the morning shot. You know, it says it's the signature canned coffee with perfect taste for the morning. If your favourite taste is just a bucket of sugar, there's nothing good about it. Anyway, enough about the Wonder Coffee. Let's go to Kanda Station, stop number 2.
The next station is Kanda.
So Kanda, I wouldn't normally stop here, but we're stopping everywhere today. It does have one cool thing going on though. Kanda has Jinbocho, which is this district that's kind of like Akihabara, but for books. The next stop is actually Akihabara with all the retro electronics, but here, the whole street has over 150 bookstores, and somebody getting killed in a car crash. There's over 150 bookstores on this street though, and it's a really nice vibe. People picking them up, having a read, going inside, and before I leave here, I want to get a book for myself. Could get a Japanese book. Practice how to read? Nah, something with pictures. Lots of pictures. Ooh. Cool little book on Japanese festivals. There's so many like crazy festivals nobody hears about. Let's buy this book. Yeah, Japanese festivals. Well hey, got my festival book, and they've wrapped it up in this nice paper map of Jinbocho itself. But now onwards to station number 3, Akihabara. Got to get something in Akihabara, whether it's a broken electronic item or something much smaller like a gashapon. That'll be ideal. The people travel from all over the world to buy broken cameras from Akihabara. This store, right, they just sell like old cameras for massive prices. Cool shop though. I must admit I was tempted by the purple looking camera that looked like it came in a purse. It looked kind of cool. Maybe as a present to Charlotte, but then it was 26,000 yen, which seemed a little bit pricey for what it was. So yeah, cool shop though. If you're ever in Akihabara, check it out. All the cameras are operational and have batteries in so you can like test them out. So this store has like over 1,000 gacha machines in it, right? And this one here's caught my eye. It says pan dead. Bread zombies collectively known as pan dead. Literally dead bread. It's exactly what Charlotte would want, I know. And that Pokemon nonsense when you've got pan dead. I couldn't resist. I've got to see this. Ooh, cheeky little rascal. Just like a mouldy piece of bread. Who thought this up? I love gacha. Anyway, that concludes our Akihabara segment. Onwards to the next station, whatever it is.
Our next stop is Okachimachi Station, and Okachimachi is not only Japan's most rhyming station name, but it also bookends one side of the thriving Yurakucho market, tucked beneath the railway tracks of the Yamanote line.
One thing I love about Yurakucho market is it's a real lived-in market. You know, it's not like just for tourists. It's here, the locals come in, and there's like lots of little temples and shrines dotted throughout. Like there's one hidden above here I always like to visit. Really nice market, really cool place, and it's usually open till about 3 p.m. Then at night it becomes like a nightlife hotspot. Couldn't resist. Got some beautiful grapes, get your vitamin C, and then batter it in sugar. Pretty good actually. Once you've bitten through the sugary outer shell. The fruit's actually quite fresh, but don't let me pretend that this is a healthy thing. Alright, brunch done. Next up, Ueno Station. So at the other end of Yurakucho market, packed full of grapes drenched in sugar, you get Ueno Station and the Yamanote line train. And rather than buy more sweets and books and items and trinkets, if you come to Ueno, there's lots of things to do like parks and museums, but just coming up here and getting a view of the city, this is a really nice spot. Just up here, across the road from the station, you can see the Yurakucho market, the train tracks, Sky Tree, one of my favourite photo spots in Tokyo. Onwards to the next station, and I don't know what it's called, Ugi something or other.
Well, we've made it through one of the first busy sections of the Yamanote line, but after concrete, crowds and sugar, thankfully it's time for a much needed change of scenery.
Uguisudani. Uguisudani. 12 years and I still can't pronounce that damn train station name. Probably the hardest train station name to say in Tokyo. But anyway, next to Uguisudani is one of my favourite spots in all of Tokyo, Yanaka Cemetery, right? And you might think, oh, cemetery, bit grim, bit depressing, but actually this cemetery, it really is stunning. It's kind of like a moment of calm in the middle of the city. I mean, there's like a Game of Thrones-esque tree right here. It looks beautiful. But I did have one slightly traumatic experience here a few years ago, involving cats, believe it or not.
The scale of Yanaka Cemetery is genuinely breathtaking, with over 25 acres and 7,000 graves. Amidst the cemetery, it's rare to run into fellow human travellers, but if you're lucky, you might spot the odd feral cat napping quietly on an ancient tomb.
So 8 years ago, I did a documentary called Cat Nation, covering Japan's wacky cat culture, right? And they made me come here. The director, a really nice guy called Tim, was like, oh yeah mate, there's like a cemetery and there's lots of feral cats running around. Should we go and see what we can find? And I was like, do we have to? And we spent 3 hours walking through the cemetery trying to find cats. We found a cat and I tried to stroke it and it wasn't happy. The cats hated me. I wasn't overly enthralled to meet them either. And it was one of the not so good scenes of many in that documentary. But whenever I come here, I think about life, death and Cat Nation, the 3 big things you have to think about.
And it looks like we're not escaping the cats just yet. Nippori Station is home to one of the most retro shopping districts in all of Tokyo, Yanaka Ginza, with its distinctive 1960s style neighbourhood where you can eat and drink from the many food stalls under the watchful eye of the many cat statues. In fact, Yanaka Ginza is often referred to as Cat Town due to the area's sizable population of stray cats, who've become a beloved part of the neighbourhood.
I do love Yanaka Ginza and its kind of retro style aesthetic. Shops selling souvenirs and trinkets, some selling snacks and food. There's one over here I've just spotted as well, selling sake, and I might go and indulge with the 10 minutes I've got left in Yanaka Ginza. Yamagata. Good God, they gave me all the Nihonshu. Normally, you have like a little bit in a cup. That's like, let's get drunk speed run. Oh my God. Bloody hell, that's really good. I will admit, when it came out and I was like, oh, pink sake, oh yeah. That's not something you normally get excited about. It's usually not a sign that it's going to be good, but I kind of like fruity, it's kind of like craft sake. 10% though, it doesn't get to end well, is it? I'll admit also, every time I come to Yanaka Ginza and I walk down here, I've always wanted to stand here and just drink sake, and now that dream has come true. Yanaka Ginza, I'm sold.
Oh boy, after drinking a whole glass of sake on a practically empty stomach, let's just hope I make it to the next stop in one piece. Well hello, it's future far more sober Chris here. You know, you find with the mood of a video, it's not necessarily the footage, but the audio and the soundtrack that kind of sets the tone. And it's been clear today that each station in Tokyo has a completely different vibe, whether it's the chaos of Yurakucho or the laid-back atmosphere of Yanaka Ginza. So for our stroll through Yanaka Ginza, I found a soul-inspired soundtrack that fits the 1960s aesthetic of the neighbourhood. A track called Whiskey Saved My Soul. Ironic really, as in this case it was actually sake that saved my soul. Then over in Yurakucho, amidst the restless chaos of the streets, I wanted a track that was more frenetic and found Dreaming of Lhotse, which described itself as heavy and ponderous. capturing that sensation of being lost and out of your depth in a brand new environment, like Yurakucho Market. But so many folks ask, where do we get the music and sound effects from? And it's all pretty much from the same place. I'm delighted to say that they're today's sponsor. Epidemic Sound is the best online library for creators to use. I love them for two reasons. Number one, their music speaks for itself. I've used well over 100 tracks in the 10 years I've been using them, many of which you can find in the 1980s inspired playlist I have over on their site. But you know, sound effects are just as important. Case in point, today when we're filming in Yurakucho Market, the audio was pretty damn bad, you know. A big, noisy, messy blur. Thankfully, Epidemic has an entire section on Japanese train sound effects alone, one of which I was able to download and pop in alongside the soundtrack and bring you guys closer to the action, make you feel like you're there beneath the noisy train tracks in Ueno. The second reason I love Epidemic Sound though is in 10 years of downloading music from their service, I've never had a single copyright strike ever on YouTube, which is so damn bloody important, right? So I'm delighted to say that you guys can get your own free trial of Epidemic Sound down in the link in the description box below. Honestly, it's never been cheaper or easier to be a creator or filmmaker, and Epidemic Sound are a big reason why. Be sure to check them out. Well, with the next few stops, we're officially in uncharted territory, and I've been tipped off about the magnificent and luscious Nezu Shrine, tucked away near Nishi-Nippori Station. Perhaps the most beautiful shrine that I've somehow never heard of. What I love about this trip is discovering new places, and finally, we've discovered somewhere new, the Nezu Shrine, dating back to 1705, beautiful place, luscious forests, ponds, and something very special over here in a minute that I'll show you, but you wouldn't really know we're in Tokyo when you take a look around. It's so well kind of concealed by the forest. And every year they have a big azalea festival as well for the garden. Apparently they're big fans of Australian pop star Iggy Azalea over here as well. God knows why. Who needs Fushimi Inari's shrine in Kyoto? We've got it at home, we've got it here in Tokyo. Had no idea there was one this good, you know, and also there's nobody here, unlike the one in Kyoto, so you can actually kind of enjoy it. Really beautiful. Definitely one of the highlights of the day so far. How have I never come to this shrine before? So here we are at Tabata Station. Never been here before, not many people know about it, but it is actually the closest stop on the Yamanote line to the sun. It's so hot, what the dickens. But also, Tabata Station has the award of being the cheapest stop on the entire Yamanote line. It's 88,000 yen on average here for an apartment, which is about $550 a month, which is a steal if you're in Tokyo. So check it out if you're moving here on a budget, place to be, Tabata. But now, onwards to the next station, Komagome, I think. All this dashing between stations and trains is thirsty business. Fortunately for our next stop at Komagome's serene Rikugen Gardens, amidst the picturesque ponds and stone bridges, lies a small Chashitsu tea house, serving up fresh matcha green tea. Just the ticket. A nice beautiful cold cup of matcha green tea overlooking the stunning Rikugen Garden. Fun fact, a few years ago, when I finished teaching in 2015 and I moved to Sendai, there was a small period of time where I actually kind of spent a month living in Tokyo. I never talked about before. And I ended up here in Komagome living at a friend's place. And whenever I told Japanese friends, I'm staying at Komagome, they were like, wow, I don't know what that is, because it's not a very famous station. In autumn they did really nice illuminations here, and that's the first and only time I came here, like 7-8 years ago. It was built by the lord of the Kawagoe domain back in the 18th century. And there's 88 scenes here depicting famous moments from ancient waka poetry. Funny, isn't it? Some lords die in battle, get slaughtered on a field, others get to build their favourite garden. Swings and roundabouts of being a lord in Japan. Well, it's been a pleasant few stops through the more peaceful neighbourhoods of the Yamanote line. But as we arrive in Sugamo, we find ourselves thrown into one of North Tokyo's most thriving street markets. Well, sort of. So here we are, Sugamo Jizodori Street, kind of colloquially known as Granny Harajuku. It's a shopping street bustling with elderly people. I don't know why it caters to elderly. I guess there's lots of clothes shops or something. It's living true to its word though. Everyone here is at least over 100 years old. I'm a sort of odd one out. A minute ago I walked past a shop called Straight Off the Boat from Kobe, and I was like, Kobe beef, count me in. Alas, it was like clothes and fabric. I found this place serving cheese kamaboko, or cheese fish cakes. Look at that bad boy. It's so heavy. Tadakimasu. It's pretty good. It's an acquired taste kamaboko.
It's a bit like fish sticks, but because it's got cheese in it, how could I not? Let's face it. Really cool street again. Haven't seen a single tourist here. I feel like the odd one out. And also I feel very young for once, so that's good. If you want to feel young, get yourself to Jizodori Street. So, Otsuka Station is known for two things. Number one, it's one of the few places in Tokyo that has a tram. And what a lovely tram it is. And the second thing it's known for is this shop, Onigiri Bongo. They actually make the onigiri fresh to order here. You sit down, you choose your fillings, and they make it right before your eyes. And I think Connor went recently, and he said, "Oh, it's insane, there's some food and some rice, it's delicious." I hear it's good, and I would go in. However, there's a hefty queue across the street. People have to queue for hours to get onigiri. Weird, really. It's quite hard to get like a fresh onigiri in Tokyo, unless you go to every convenience store ever. Oh look, and here's the tram, yay! Alright, away we go. Our first of many mega stations coming up, Ikebukuro. Chaos beyond compare. Luckily there's a place, an oasis in the city, not too far from here, if we make it through these crowds.
Over 2.5 million passengers pass through Ikebukuro Station every single day, making it Japan's third busiest stop. But the real jewel in Ikebukuro's crown is perhaps the city's best-known shopping mall, a staple of North Tokyo since 1978, Sunshine City.
So Ikebukuro has Sunshine City, a massive multi-storey complex with the Pokemon Center. So it's kind of like Pokemon Mecca here. Charlotte always comes here, so I feel like I should buy her something. What represents her the best, Pokemon-wise? Hey, I would buy this, but she's not Charizard yet, is she? Maybe next year. So here we are at Mejiro Station. There's not a whole lot going on here. It's quite residential, and there's a university called Gakushin University, a very prestigious private place where kind of members of the royal family go. But there's a review here saying it's a boring station with nothing to do and a bad view. Well, I say, actually, it's got a very good view. Check this out, an unobstructed view of the Yamanote line, a rare thing in Tokyo. And here it comes right now. Hey, from Ikebukuro onwards to our next stop, which is called the station that I know definitely for sure. It's called Takadanobaba, definitely, yeah. Oh, thank God for the miracle of the Parish sweat. But we're here, guys, at Takadanobaba Station, which I love. And I love it for two reasons. Number one, it actually marks the halfway point of our entire journey. This is station number 15. We've made it halfway. Only another 15 stations to go. Oh my God, kill me. And the second reason that I love Takadanobaba Station is it's home to the greatest retro amusement arcade in all of Tokyo. Takadanobaba Mikado. Let's go in. Let's go take a trip back in time.
Man, you guys are in for a real treat. I can't wait to take you inside. Oh, wait.
So I went in and I was rejected because look, it says here, if your body odour is unclean and smells bad, it will be a nuisance to other customers. We will refuse entry, and that, dear viewers, is why I wasn't allowed in. Terrible shame. That and we didn't get film permission in advance. Bear that in mind if you want to film it.
Well, after the absolute fail that was Takadanobaba, it's time to turn those fortunes around with the stop on the Yamanote line I've been looking forward to the most. Oh yes, it's chicken time.
I think if you got off the train at Shin-Okubo, came out, you'd be like, wait a minute, I'm not in Japan anymore, I'm in Korea. Because this is Koreatown, and it has more chicken per capita than just about any other place in the country, which is why it's probably one of my favourite stops in Tokyo. Also, in stark contrast to Otsuka, Granny Harajuku, everyone here looks about 14 years old, so I suddenly feel very, very old indeed. Anyway, let's go grab some chicken. Chicken drenched in cheese. The perfect dish. Cheese, chicken, kimchi, what a potent combo. Oh. They said it couldn't be done, that Family Mart chicken couldn't be topped. Well, I said that, but I was wrong. Korean chicken is on a whole nother level. The batter's so crispy, with sweet, sticky, spicy sauce, perfection. If you want to try the very best fried chicken in Japan, go to Koreatown. Shinjuku. Shinjuku Station, the world's busiest station. I've got lost in the jungles of Okinawa and the forests of Hokkaido, but I've never got so lost as I am right now in Shinjuku Station. 12 years living here, I still haven't a bloody clue where I'm going, and at the moment they're renovating it. so it's especially confusing. Let's get out of here. I do like Shinjuku, I just hate this station. It's so damn confusing, but got a really cool view lined up if and when I eventually find my way out. So we've escaped the chaos of Shinjuku Station to arrive here on this rusted footbridge. But it's the view, right? Check this out. Shinjuku, the train line, the lights. At night, this is one of my favourite spots in all of Tokyo. The shots you get here from this bridge are incredible. And even during the day, it's kind of cool as well. But not only do you get the view of Shinjuku that way, check this out over here. This is the Shinjuku skyscraper district, and this is my favourite skyscraper in Tokyo, the Sompo building, built in 1976. I like the way it sort of tapers off at the bottom. It kind of looks very futuristic, and I love it. Anyway, enough gawping at skyscrapers, onwards to Yoyogi.
I'll admit, travelling through two of the world's busiest train stations almost back to back has practically broken me, so thank God for our next stop as we swap skyscrapers for serenity.
Oh man, after the crazy chaos of Shinjuku and all the other stations, I needed this. I needed the nature and the forests of Meiji Jingu Shrine. Look at that, beautiful. If you get off at Yoyogi Station, you get the sneaky, secret back entrance to Meiji Jingu Shrine, the park, which I highly recommend because the main entrance over at Harajuku is chaos, absolute chaos.
While Yoyogi Station offers the secret entrance to Meiji Jingu, confusingly, the station isn't near Yoyogi Park itself. It's the next stop on the Yamanote line, Harajuku, which is actually at the entrance to the park. So bear that in mind if, like me, you plan to visit the park and read your favourite book about a festival.
Look at this festival. There's a dragon at the festival, isn't that lovely? I'm sitting here, chilling beneath this tree in Yoyogi Park, reading the festival book I bought earlier this morning, and just look at this vibe. I love Yoyogi Park. You see a side to Tokyo here you don't normally see anywhere else. People having fun, just chilling, relaxing, underneath the trees with their friends, drinking, dancing, singing. It's a vibe here that's hard to find anywhere else. And I kind of wish I could sit here all day and read this book about creepy festivals. Alas, we've still got a few more stations to go. Onwards to the big one, Shibuya Station.
I realise we haven't bought any souvenirs since Akihabara. Thankfully though, Tokyo's shopping mecca, Shibuya, is our next stop, and I know just the place to go shopping for our next item.
Tower Records, the best store in all of Shibuya. Of course I bought something. Normally I come here, I buy LPs. A lot of people in Japan still buy cassettes and records and CDs and things like that. It's pretty cool that physically owning music is still a big thing in Japan. And I got, not an LP, but a cassette. Because cassettes are coming back, they're actually quite popular at the moment. And I got Tatsuro Yamashita, one of my favourite city pop artists, on cassette. Only problem is, I don't have a cassette player, so maybe we can buy one at a future stop. Anyway, onwards to Ebisu.
Ebisu Station, home to not only Sapporo Brewery's iconic Ebisu beer brand, but also one of my favourite restaurants in Tokyo. And wouldn't you know it, but we've arrived just in time for me to be hungry again. What a miracle.
Henry's Burger, my favourite burger restaurant in all of Tokyo, here in Ebisu. Simple, fresh Wagyu burgers. You can see them being made literally around the back. The essence of Henry's Burger is simplicity. There's a single, a double, a triple, and also a maniacal crazy burger if you feel like ruining your cholesterol levels, as I've done today on this trip. But yeah, very simple. Lettuce, tomato, cheese. It's all about that rich, buttery Wagyu patty though. Oh, that's everything a good burger should be. Oh God. It's going everywhere though. Oh no. Oh God. There's a hole in the bag and it's leaking like fluid. Oh no. This is the one thing we didn't want to happen. There's no two ways about it. Henry's Burger, the best burger in Tokyo, but also the messiest, God forbid. Come with napkins. Bring all the napkins.
Having desecrated the streets of Tokyo with burger sauce, it's time to burn off that rich, buttery Wagyu with a stroll. And thankfully our next stop of Meguro has one of the most scenic stretches of river in the city.
So this is the Meguro River, and it might look quite unassuming today, but these are all cherry trees. And in late March, this is probably the greatest cherry blossom viewing spot in the entire city. It's so busy. If you happen to be in Tokyo around late March, early April, swing by here and you won't regret it. And when you're done looking at the cherry trees, of course, head over to the Castle Hotel, the finest love hotel in the Meguro district. Although be careful, they're having a renovation in the year 2007, according to the banner on the side of the castle. So if you come around here in 2007, just be aware of that, they're renovating.
all shrines are equal, but some shrines are more equal than others. And here at our next stop of Gotanda, you'll find one of Tokyo's most intriguingly placed shrines, curiously hidden beneath an office building.
So we're here in Gotanda, famous for having a nightlife district amongst other things. And the other thing it's famous for is Kiji's Shrine. Now Kiji's Shrine's been here in some way, shape or form for 300 years. And the form it's in now is underneath a massive office building, because Tokyo is very good at building in and around religious sites while trying to maintain them. And it's done an interesting job here because it sort of enshrouds the temple, but also there is a space in the sky above the temple so it can have that contact with God, right? It's all about having that space there. So they were mindful when they were building this office block to have that space there. But if you're into your quirky temples and shrines, put Kiji Shrine on your list. There's nowhere else in Tokyo quite like it. Hey, Osaki Station. Now, I'm feeling rather peckish because we haven't eaten at least 2 or 3 stations, and I know just the place around the corner.
Even on the other side of the world, you're never that far from good old British fish and chips. And here in Osaki at the Footnick British pub, I'm able to fuel myself back up on the fine taste of the UK. The fine taste indeed.
Look at that, British fish and chips. It looks a bit pale, not gonna lie, but don't judge a book by its cover, don't judge a fish by its dodgy looking colour. Alright. It's not quite British quality, if there is such a thing, but yeah, the batter's a bit flaccid. Is that the word? It's not the word, is it? No. But I'm enjoying today, not only because I have my British fish and chips, but also some real actual cider, Magnus cider, beautiful stuff. Oh, you can't screw that up, that's bloody good. I actually realised today though, this isn't the first time I've gone around the Yamanote line. 2 years ago I did the Yamanote Marathon, and you go around the whole line with some friends. I think you have to complete it in about 12 hours, which we did with about 20 minutes to spare. It was very intense, and I highly recommend it actually. But would I recommend the fish and chips here? Probably not, because they made one cardinal sin. Wedges. Who has wedges with fish and chips? Not real chips. Unbelievable. Gonna wash this atrocity down with this Magnus, and it's time to hit the road, because I've got a bone to pick with Sony, which we're gonna visit at our next stop. So here we are, Shinagawa Station, usually the 5th busiest stop on the Yamanote line. And for most people in West Tokyo, this is your portal to the other side of Japan. This is where the bullet trains go to Osaka and Kyoto. The first stop is Tokyo, second stop Shinagawa, and then onwards to the other side of Japan. And whenever they show Japanese commuters in TV shows and things, it's typically a shot of here, like overhead, of all the crowds walking along the terminal. So you might have seen it before. But I'm here on other business with Sony. So another thing Shinagawa's home to is Sony's global headquarters right there, and we are using Sony right now to film this video. I love them. I do have one bone to pick with them though, and that is they make my favourite headphones, the Sony WH-1000 MX5 to the power of 3 squared -6. Why can't they just call it the Sony Wonder headphones, the Sony 1, the Sony 5? Just keep it simple. Why does Sony? Why do you have to complicate it? Is somebody listening? Anyway, love Sony, but for the love of God, sort out the name of those headphones. I can't remember what they're called.
Our next stop wins the coveted Most Underwhelming Station Award. Opened just 4 years ago, while the architecture of Takanawa Gateway Station is undeniably nice, the name itself proves so unpopular that an unsuccessful petition was launched to change the name.
So, Takanawa Gateway, the latest addition to the Yamanote line, built in 2020. In fact, the last station built before that was 1971, so it's kind of a big deal. But what is there to do in Takanawa Gateway? Well, in my case, I bought some Picari sweat because there's fuck all else to do here. Nice station though, but yeah, you don't need to come here. So it's built to alleviate congestion on the Yamanote line. That's all you need to know. So just got off at Tamachi Station, and I wasn't really looking forward to this station much. I didn't know what was here. But then I got out my map and I was like, wait a minute, isn't this right next to the Rainbow Crossing, like the big Rainbow Bridge? And sure enough, check this out, we're right underneath it. And all of a sudden, it's become one of my favourite stops on the entire trip. Apparently there's a park over here and there should be an amazing view of the bridge and the Fuji Television building over across the bay in Odaiba. Of the many great views we've had today, I think this just about steals the show. Check this out. Rainbow Bridge, Odaiba, the futuristic island development of the 90s, and the iconic Fuji Television building, built in 1996 at great expense, cost over $1 billion. That sphere there is actually an observation deck. You can go inside it, and get a pretty good view of Tokyo. But I love the design. After the Nakagin Capsule Tower, may it rest in peace, probably my favourite building in Tokyo. But it is very windy, and we've got a lot more train stations to go. I think 4. Onwards to wherever we're going next, Hamamatsucho. So if you think the last view is good, Hamamatsucho Station is next to the iconic Zorjoji Temple, which has the trifecta of excellence. We've got the ancient temple itself. Then we've got Tokyo Tower, kind of modernism, right? And then behind that, we've got hyper, super, duper, crazy modernism, Azabudai Hills. 325 metres. Still not as tall as Tokyo Tower, thankfully. I'm glad about that, because Tokyo Tower for me is like the OG of towers, right? So lit up at night, unbeatable. Way better than the Tokyo Skytree. Let no one else tell you otherwise. Tokyo Tower's where it's at, although I'm a little bit biased because that's where we finished the cycle back in April. Had like a massive ending that was crazy and epic, and I'll never forget that. So for me, Tokyo Tower will always have a special place in my heart. I do recommend coming here during the daytime though. It is a lot nicer during the day. But given we've been travelling for 300 years around the Yamanote line, beggars can't be choosers. But we've only got 2 stations left, so let's get on it. Next up, Shinbashi Station. Make it stop, make it end. Alas, we're here in Shinbashi. One more stop to go after this. And I do love Shinbashi. It's a bit like Shinjuku, all the lights, all the chaos, but not as kind of stressful, because you don't have to pass through Shinjuku Station. So I like to come here and do nighttime photography. Probably my favourite spot in the city, to be honest. And I really enjoyed coming here with Pete, when Pete and I did our Tokyo in a Day video, where we walked all the way from Osaka across to Shibuya. Go and check out that video after this one if you want to see another perspective on Tokyo. But yeah, Shinbashi, if you're into your nighttime photography, this is the place to do it. And now, one last stop, Yurakucho, and then we're back at Tokyo Station. I can't bloody believe it. What a day. Yes, Yurakucho. One stop away from the finish line. Now Yurakucho is kind of a shopping district, so I'm thinking, what can I do here, what can I buy? And earlier today we did buy a cassette, the first cassette I bought in 25 years. The only problem is, I don't have a cassette player, but look, there's a big camera just behind me, one of the biggest, bestest, baddest electronic stores in Tokyo. Let's see if we can find a cassette player. I don't actually know if they exist, so it should be kind of interesting. Yes, we found the cassette players. Look at this, the cheapest one, 5,400 yen. The most expensive, 21,000. Made of like titanium and excitement. I kind of want the expensive one, but given I've only got one cassette, and I don't think I'll be buying any more, I might go for the cheap one. Where's the Sony Walkman? If they had that, I'd get that. The Sony XM34 to the power of 2 squared Walkman, or whatever it's called now. Kenko. Kenko get the job done, don't they? Oh, it's also got a radio built in. The future's arrived. This is it, guys, end of the line. Our last ride on the train. About 1 minute to Tokyo Station with my cassette player and a few other trinkets from our journey. And with that, we're about to complete our journey. 30 stops around the Yamanote line. Never done before. Probably. Yeah! 30 stops, a million years. Let's never do this again, ever again. What a day, what a day. What a journey. I never want to ride the Yamanote line again.
Well guys, many thanks for joining me on our 30-station odyssey around the Tokyo Yamanote line. And now, as we arrive at Tokyo Station at the finish line, there's only one thing left to do.
This is it. The first time in 25 years I'm going to put a cassette on. But what a day, guys. We're here at Tokyo Station. I can't believe it. Thank you so much for making it this far into the video, just to watch me fail to open a cassette player. But inevitably, the big questions, which was my favourite and least favourite stop today? I think the most surprising and wonderful stop was Nishi-Nippori, where we got to go to the Nezu Shrine with the torii gates and the koi carp splashing around. I enjoyed the Granny Harajuku in Otsuka. Again, never been there before. That was really fun, having the old cheese kamaboko fish stick. My least favourite station that we passed through today was Shinjuku, as always, because I get lost, I don't know what I'm doing. But my favourite moment of the day was probably going to Yanaka Ginza, just standing there having some pink sake. I wish I could have stood around there all day trying different types of sake. Brace yourselves. The radio works. Amazing. Now I remember why I don't listen to radio. For now, unfortunately, this cassette, Tatsuro Yamashita, king of city pop, he is very much, well, he doesn't like his music going on YouTube or anywhere, and that's why it's incredibly difficult to find his music. So I have to listen to it with headphones on and just sort of leave you, really. So I'm going to listen to this, and you can't. So that's a shame. That's copyright. But go and buy his album. It's a good one. See you guys later. It's very low quality. Is that supposed to sound like that? Is that what cassettes were like? Is that why we got rid of cassettes? Yeah. See you later. But we've got one station left, and my voice is getting lower, and I've got no energy. Industrial size pop-up pirate. Actually quite scary. Uh-oh. Staff's there. No filming for you. I don't think you can film me. This is Meiji Jingu Shrine with a Boeing 777 jet going overhead very loudly. Why did they make the flight path go over Yoyogi? Okachimachi Station, you've probably never heard of it. Bookends. I love it. I just wish I could just sit.